A few weeks ago, I spent the day looking at houses with my daughter. She's at that chapter of life where she's ready for a house and she wanted me to be there. And I loved every second of it. We walked through several houses that day, and while we were looking at one, this place with a sunny back room and original hardwood floors, I had this very clear thought. I'm never doing this again. Not for me. Not in a sad way. My season is different, and my season doesn't need a house in it. Hi, I'm Michelle, and on my channel we talk about creating a peaceful, confident life after 50, especially if you're living alone, traveling solo, or navigating retirement. And I want to say this up front, I'm not anti-house. I'm not here to tell anyone they made the wrong choice. Owning a home in retirement works great for some people, and I'll get to that later in this video. I don't feel the assumption should be that buying a house is the responsible default, because the more I sit with this chapter of my life, the more I believe that for a solo woman over 50, defaulting to home ownership can cost you the very thing you retired to enjoy. So let's talk about the story we've been sold. Because before we can even talk about money, we have to talk about the story. Owning a home has been packaged for our generation as the universal symbol of having made it. It's stability, responsibility, and success. It's even somehow love. We grew up watching our parents treat the deed to the house like a kind of report card, proof that they did it right. A house was supposed to be the thing that proved we were finally settled, finally grounded. So I had to ask myself a different question. What does ownership actually look like for a woman who's doing this alone? Because when you own a house alone, every single risk lands on one person. A tree limb comes down, you're the one calling around for quotes. You're the one trying to figure out which guy actually knows what he's doing. You're the one writing the check, and you're the one supervising. A pipe bursts at 11 p.m., you're the one in pajamas making a $1,000 decision while half asleep in your pajamas. Property taxes get reassessed. The increase comes out of your one income, not two. Solo ownership is just not the same product as partnered ownership. The brochure looks the same, the experience is not the same. And nobody warns women about that math before they sign. The widow who is left with the house and a list of problems that she didn't know existed because her husband used to handle them. The divorced woman who got the house in the settlement and didn't realize for about 6 months what she'd actually won was a 30-year project with her name on it. And the mom who downsized after her kids left, bought what she thought was a manageable little place, and ended up crying because she couldn't find anyone to fix the back deck for less than $4,000. These are not unlucky women. These are women who got handed a house and who were told it was a gift. And then there's the phantom wealth trap. A lot of women hold on to the idea of buying because it makes them feel wealthier, more legitimate, more grown up. We grew up associating ownership with security, so the word rent can feel like it's missing something. And there's this little psychological pull that says, if I buy something, I'll finally feel settled. But here's the truth. Equity that you can't access without selling or borrowing isn't lifestyle wealth. It's a number on a Zillow page. You can't take a friend to lunch with it, and you can't buy the plane ticket with it. And you can't take your grandkids out for ice cream with it. In retirement, what actually matters isn't how much you're worth on paper. It's how much of your life is actually yours. Your time, your attention, your energy, your money in the bank, your weekends. A house can quietly take all of those things and call itself an investment. I don't want to look rich. I want to live richly. There's a difference. And when I really sat down and asked what I'd be giving up to buy a house in this season, the list got long fast. And it wasn't a list of money things. It wasn't a list of life things. I'd be giving up solo travel. The month I spent in New York would be a much bigger production with a house behind me. Watering things, lawn things. Did I remember to lock the back door? I'd be giving up that particular quiet I get where nothing in my home is asking anything from me. I'd be giving up the freedom to say yes when a friend is going through something hard and needs me, because my Saturday would already be promised to mowing the yard and pulling weeds. I'd be giving up the ability to spend on an experience instead of a roof. I'd be giving up energy reserve that I didn't even know I was protecting. And at this age, energy is currency. That's the part that took me a long time to understand. A house withdraws from your energy account every single month, even when nothing is going wrong. There's always a thought in the back of your head. Did I check the gutters? The HOA email, the insurance renewal, the thing the neighbor mentioned. It's a low hum that never fully turns off. I don't want a low hum. I retired from the low hum. Buying a house in retirement absolutely makes sense for some women. If you have a true forever location, somewhere where your roots are deep and you're not going anywhere, ownership can be a great choice. If you have family or community deeply rooted in a place and you want to be at the center of it, if you have the cash flow to absorb surprises without flinching, if you genuinely love the work of a home, the gardening, the projects, the slow, long-term care of a place, buying can be a form of joy, not just an asset. But buying often doesn't make sense if you're still figuring out where you want to be. If you travel often, if you're on a fixed income with a tight margin, if you don't have a strong reason to leave property to anyone after you're gone, or if you feel even a little bit of dread when you imagine being responsible for it. Dread is information. Dread is your nervous system telling you something important. We're at an age where we can finally afford to listen to it. The point isn't that home ownership is wrong. The point is that defaulting to it is. And I want to tell you what choosing not to buy has actually given me. Because it's not a list of features, it's a picture of a life. It's the Saturday morning that belongs entirely to me with no project waiting in the garage. It's the trip I booked without second thought because nothing was tying me down. It's the cushion in my savings account that didn't get sucked into a furnace replacement. It's the way my shoulders drop when a storm rolls in and I realize that none of that is mine to handle. It's the quiet pride of knowing my home supports my life instead of running it. So if you've been telling yourself you should buy a house in retirement, I want to ask whose should that actually is. Is it yours, or did it come from your parents' generation, your married friends, or the realtor who already has the listing pulled up? Is it your dream or just the dream you inherited? A retirement that fits a solo woman now doesn't have to look like a retirement that fit a married couple in 1985. You're allowed to design it differently. You're allowed to say, that whole package isn't for me. And that's not a failure, that's a preference. You're allowed to put your money towards your life instead of your walls. Thank you so much for watching.